The Judicial Tribunal into sexual harassment allegations against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge has been postponed to the 30th of June. Let's get you an update now from Newzroom Afrika Ziniko Mhlaba. He's following those proceedings for us in Sandton. Ziniko, good afternoon. And I believe the reason for this postponement is due to a lack of witnesses.
That is correct, Michelle. That is the main reason tabled before this tribunal by chairperson of this tribunal, retired Judge Mhlaba, saying that, well, today, as you know, that we're supposed to be hearing testimony by Judge Selby Mbenenge himself. However, there was an introduction of a possible new witness yesterday as we're closing the proceedings. Yesterday, there was that proposal that was made by evidence leader here saying that we do need a gender expert to come and testify. And of course, the judge had overnight and this morning to really contemplate and really make a decision. So he announced that decision today in the morning, saying that, well, it is very, very important to hear that witness. And of course, just on the principle of fairness, we must ensure that both sides, both legal teams do exhaust their weaknesses and their argument. Hence, he ruled in favor of the evidence leader. So that was the reason. So therefore, it would mean, Michelle, that both teams need to be served with that evidence which will be, provided or tabled here by that gender expert, and that will take several weeks. So between now and the next session of these proceedings, both teams will exchange notes, but most importantly, Judge Selby Mbenenge's legal team will need to get their hands on the evidence of that particular expert, and then they will need to go and consult their own expertise in terms of what is it that they can challenge that evidence on. And that is why it was then necessary for these proceedings to be postponed. But also speaking to the evidence leader herself, she was saying that even if Judge Mbenenge would be testifying today, this week will not be enough for them as evidence leaders to go through that cross-examination with Judge Mbenenge. You'll recall that Advocate Skakane said that he just needs a full day to go through cross-examination with his client, Judge Mbenenge. But the other side is saying that, well, 2 days is not enough. 3 days are not enough. Even this week will not be enough. You remember that we're supposed to end these official tribunal proceedings by Friday. So they're saying that even this week will not be sufficient for them to conclude their cross-examination with Judge Mbenenge. So those are the two things we have since picked up now. The lack of sufficient time to go through the evidence with Judge Mbenenge according to the evidence leader, but also that reason of lack of witnesses. So those are the two reasons that led us to hearing that indeed these proceedings must be halted until the end of June into the first week of July.
Ziniko, I understand that the Eastern Cape Judge President's legal team that they objected to this expert in gender-based violence, Lisa Vetten. She's an expert in gender-based violence and sexual harassment. So the legal team objects to her giving evidence because it's a so-called late witness. But yesterday, at the end of proceedings, they did say that the Judge President himself would be ready to give evidence. That clearly not the case.
So as far as they're concerned, from their side, as his legal team, they're saying that they are ready and they will just need 1 full day. And of course, if you're starting at 9:30, they're saying that they would finish their testimonies or their processes with him by the afternoon. That's what they are saying. But also getting to that point of opposing Ms. Lisa Vetten's testimony, they're saying that, well, this particular tribunal needs to work on evidence-based testimonies. So they are saying that one of their concerns is that she will be coming in, giving her own analysis, her own opinions, which might not be legally proven. So they are saying that, well, yes, it is an important session to have with her, but it would not help in determining whether their client is guilty or not. So they are saying that, well, it is not going to be relevant. Whatever she presents here needs to be verified and tested on legal grounds. However, the evidence leader is saying that, well, there is that dynamic where we've got a senior person in a workplace, in this case, Judge Mbenenge, interacting, on very untoward toward a junior, in this case, Ms. Andiswa Mengo. So that expert will give reasons why Ms. Mengo reacted or collaborated in a certain way, to those alleged sexual harassment acts towards her. So that's why they're saying that it is very important to bring her in so that she can analyze and give context in terms of why did the complainant behave in a certain manner or respond to some text in a particular way. So that's what Ms. Lisa Fetted would be giving testimony on this particular tribunal. So those are the two arguments which were made before the judge or the chairperson of this tribunal, Judge Ngwebe, and Judge Ngwebe did hear and accede to that request by the evidence leader to say that, well, just to be fair, let's bring her in. If her evidence, we find it irrelevant, we just throw it out and put it aside and continue with what we know, with what we've been given in terms of the list of witnesses. And according to that list, the person who needs to come on board next is Judge Mbenenge himself.